Ladies and gentlemen, the Newton Nomadic Theater presents Story Slam.
So my story takes place in the Negev, the desert area of Israel, 20 years ago, fresh out of the military service. And I got a job as a research assistant at the Jacob Blauston Institute for Desert Research, and was assigned to work with 2 PhD students as their assistant, driving them around the desert to wherever they needed to go. We had a Jeep, and I had Esther, the PhD student from Switzerland, from Geneva. She's a quiet, good Jewish girl, very studious, certainly not a Sabra like I was. And we just visited random sand spots throughout the desert. It was a beautiful, bright, gorgeous day, and we took off in the morning. After we had to make, I forgot to mention, we had to make some serious arrangements because that lot we were going to that day was adjacent to the Israel's nuclear plant. And so we had to call them, let them know that we were doing some business over there so they won't be suspicious of us. And we took off in the Jeep with all our equipment, and we get to that site that we've been to many times before. And we see a camel. Normally we see a whole herd of camels. And this time we just saw one camel and said how cute the camel is. We parked the Jeep, camel, and remember that image. We parked the Jeep and start unloading all our equipment, back and forth, lots of little small pieces, bigger pieces. And the research is about the desert lily and the relationship, ecological relationship it has with the desert gazelle. We had to measure all the leaves and the flowers. And we were getting ready to do very detail-oriented work, very precise work, but in the field, under the sun. So we had a lot of stuff to unload. And we do our work, and the camel starts to come towards us, and we say, wow, what a cute camel, because they're sort of cute until we knew they weren't. But at that point, we still thought it was cute. And he had his back legs tied in a knot, in like an H-shaped rope that was kind of loose, but it's coming, and much to my surprise, he started to run towards us, like really run. And camel's big, it's like 600 kilos, whatever pounds that is, and big, tall, huge animal. And it runs, and it runs real fast, and I just dropped the stuff, and I ran back to the car, and so did Esther. And Esther made it to the Jeep, closed the door. And I was running, and I went around the Jeep, and I was trying to get away in because it was sort of chasing me. And I'm not sure how it happened exactly. It was all very quick. I ended up on the ground, and the camel just sat on me. I'm glad we have this image, because camels have this thing right in the middle of their torso. It's kind of like a hardened tissue. It's kind of like a stool, and it keeps their belly off the hot sand. So when they sit, they fold up their legs, and their whole body is raised, and they have this support, this big hardened stool, and that was like right where my lungs are, and my head, luckily, was facing towards the neck of the camel. Yes, that was the best part about it. There were some other parts not so great, but I was like hitting the camel, and I was trying to get it to move and yelling at it. Nothing's not moving. Esther comes out of the Jeep with a stick, and she runs toward the camel, and she starts to hit it on the neck, and he just does this movement like that with the neck, and she gets so scared, she runs back to the Jeep, she closes the door. Oh, and I remember she was out there, I was telling her, call this guy from the nuclear plant, And later she told me, how did you remember him? And I was all so crazy. And I said, I was just trying to think, who can help us? And she's going back to the Jeep, and I'm just thinking I'm going to die here. Really seriously, I can't breathe, and I'm trying to, every time I get it to lift up a bit, and I move forward, and it just lands right on me again. And there were like rocks, and it hurts. And I really seriously felt like I couldn't breathe. And no one is just a desert path, not many cars go by, rarely anyone really. And all of a sudden there's a van driving, and it just drives, and I said, yeah, she's going to stop the van. Nothing. The van just keeps on going, just leaves us in the dust. So a few minutes go by, I don't know exactly, I mean, I lost the sense of time by then, and the van comes back. And two men come out of the van and run towards the camel, and they manage to get the camel to get up, and they start chasing it. And I ran to the Jeep, to the driver's seat, and the two guys just run in circles around the car. One of them jumps on the roof, the other one manages to get back into the van, and we're driving. So there's a guy on our roof holding the spare tire and the van, and we're driving, and the camel's after us, chasing us. And we hit this really big ditch. Should I just stop? No. Oh, sure. So we reach this, big valley, and the camel gives up on the way up. It just gives up. And we stop the cars, and they get out, and I asked them what happened, and turned out they're a French film crew filming a nature movie there. And one of the photographers brought their son, who was about 8 or 10, and the kid said, something's wrong, we have to go back. And they said, what did you see? And he said, I don't know, something's wrong. He said they could absolutely not see me under the camel. But the kid just said, we have to go back. And they came back, and they saved my life. Wow.